many cases, is changing somewhat.
The Robo Business 2018 in Silicon Valley, California, USA, discussed and debated on how to integrate the AI technologies with business, both safely and ethically. The conference demonstrated how robots are increasingly working in factories and warehouses without taking any breaks. The startup Rover Robotics had created a platform for any company to put robotic applications on top of it. It's the technology used by bomb squads and first responders. The hope was to spread it to other verticals like agriculture and warehouses. Brian Patrick Green, Director of Technological Ethics at Santa Clara University, ranked his concern about the future of robotics and artificial intelligence on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the most concerned.
The world already has plenty of problems in it, right? And AI and robotics and machine learning technologies are just going to take the problems we already have and amplify them. Is this dangerous? Is this risky? And the answer is, I think, clearly yes.
Green's department has developed an ethics curriculum for companies such as Google's Lab for Secretive Projects known as X. Green also cited AI and weapon system as his biggest concerns, saying that he could envision the technology getting away from humans. Lawyers from a robotics and automation group have seen everything from accidental plant shutdowns to employees getting their hands stuck in autonomous devices, but they said AI has opened up a new legal frontier.
We normally have some sort of culpability element to those determinations, and when there's no human involved in the why X was chosen over Y, how do you deal with culpability? Is it the programmer of the machine that ultimately led to it, even though at some point it becomes its own learning mechanism, or not? But at the end of the day, we're all going to struggle with this.
According to Clifford, one continuous challenge is that the legal system is always playing catch-up to technology.
The United Nations Children Agency, UNICEF and other agencies are currently using the drones to capture aerial imagery of crops. The information will then be analysed to identify types of crops, the yield and health, as well as whether crops have been damaged by drought or pests. The data is checked against a ground survey and shared with farmers. UNICEF will use the information to anticipate the nutrition needs of children. Launched last year, the test corridor centered at the Kasungu Aerodrome is meant to test the effectiveness of drones in humanitarian agencies and other development uses.
What we are trying to do here is actually making data available real-time also to the farmer, so they can know whether or not they should be stopping doing some of the practices, intervene with, a pesticide or the natural biological systems, see if they have to start preparing for the dry season and therefore changing the type of crops. And this is going to be done obviously in close cooperation with the extension workers.
Landlocked Malawi, which suffers periodic crop failures and is prone to floods, is frequently in need of food and other aid. Limited road access in many of its rural areas makes it difficult to get help to needy communities. The country relies heavily on rain-fed agriculture, and most of its maize is grown on small plots by subsistence farmers. Dorothy Mtonga grows maize and vegetables on her plot in Blantyre. Through the program, farmers like her will be able to access information on which crops are likely to give good yields based on weather patterns or if there is a pest invasion.
Climate change has really impacted on us as farmers. The yields are low because of poor rainfall. But with this technology, we'll be able to determine which crops we should plant.
We are understaffed. That one extension worker is covering 3,000 farmers instead of 700 farmers. So if we can have access to these modern technologies, definitely we can ease our work and we can be producing reports in relation to what is actually happening on the ground.
The drones are expected to capture imagery of crops on an area of about 100 hectares and also inform agencies on whether food aid and cash assistance may be required.